At Vishal, I joined as a CHRO, normal graduation for me. It's a large company. We do around 15,000 crores of sales. This year we will do, or last year, last year was around 12,000 crores. We have around 25,000 employees. We have around 800 stores. So it's a large setup across India. As an industry, I believe is one of the most rapidly changing, evolving sectors among the industries I have worked in. Here, the customer changes first before the organization can respond. It's a very simple thing. If there are two shops and if you're going to one shop for a while and suddenly another shop starts giving you a better discount, better product, customer will suddenly shift. And then the other retailer will have to follow the customer, why the customer is changing and evolve. So retail as an industry is rapidly evolving. Customer is leading the change all the time. And the leadership of the organizations have to really respond to this challenge, identify what the challenge is. So the first thing is that studying the customer, having a clarity who is your customer, and keeping a track of that customer amidst this chaos, change, evolution, and not letting your customer get lost in it, or you getting lost, losing the touch of your customer. That's, I believe, is the most important thing. So for that, one needs to have a processes like benchmarking, customer connect sessions, looking at your net promoter score, looking at your customer grievances, looking at your customer appreciations, and having a setup and mechanism to understand that on a continual basis works the best. Second thing is the macro trends do impact the customer, their buying patterns, their disposable incomes, their preferences, their patterns. So keeping a track of macro trends, supply chains, and that's why not just the sales, because sales, customer changes first and sales impacts come quite a bit later. So identifying that it's just not about sales, it's about your customer attrition, customer loyalty, their buying patterns across your offline stores and e-commerce platforms. So evolving those platforms and then looking at your various other factors. So looking at your business holistically all the time really helps to manage change better. Yeah, retail is actually a pennies business, and people who understand every penny of it are the ones who are successful. We understand our balance sheet, like every element of it, and the way my learning has happened in retail, that every aspect we employ costs, and it's not just about salaries, it's about our space, our benefits, any other thing that we are doing, engagement, training, performance, promotions. So we have to be, first of all, ROI driven. We have to continue to make investments in people. We have to develop our capabilities, our competence, but we have to ensure that we are allocating our resources at the right places. And we are extremely judicious who we are investing in, how we are investing in, what impact we want to see in our business. And if we are having a great sense and focus on how we are growing our business potential and then linking people's strategy to the business strategy becomes easy for me. So that's the conversation I have with my CEO, with my CXOs, that these are the kind of allocations we have to do, these are the areas, and how we shall bring it back and plow it back for business growth. Once that clarity is there, the focus is there on the business, it is really not a difficult problem to solve. Yeah, so that's where a business becomes difficult. In a way, all stores are similar, the products are similar, but every store is a different business setup. It has got its own nuances. You mentioned about talent markets. Yes, the talent markets are different, customer bases are different, and the customer patterns are different, buying patterns are different, and seasonalities are different. So we have to ensure that we allow that element of diversity an element of flexibility in our operations and give that ownership to our people who are actually running the business on a daily basis. So talent supply chains, we have to have multiples of them. I mentioned about apprentices. We do direct to market hiring. We perform various other initiatives of being participating in the various job melas on online platforms. We need to go because things platforms like Bangalore, Hyderabad, where the patterns are very different. So we have to have a range of talent pipelines, range of talent markets, range of recruitment methods to kind of employ them, and same applies to how we develop our talent going forward. It is a broad-based strategy, and we have to pick up our approach based on the talent market we are operating in. First of all is speed. Identifying the trend and making the entire organization respond to that change in a united manner, I believe, is the most important task. So identifying the trend, having a common understanding how the customer is moving, identifying that fast, building that kind of unity among the top team and the people below, that this is what we have to change for, and then actually developing products or making changes in the processes fast and rapid. That has worked for Vishal. Vishal as a player, we have been true to our strategy in terms of who the customer is. And since our inception, we have been along with that customer throughout their journey for last 2 decades or more. So as and when the customer is evolving, we identify that trend, we stay with the customer, and then we use our leverage in terms of supply chain, vendors, employees, build new products, staying true to our strategy of having the best value products at the cheapest prices for our customers. And that has instilled customer confidence in us. So not changing your strategy and not confusing your customer throughout the change is again the second matrix. So first I said the speed. The second is that not confusing your customer through the change. Your stakeholders should not get confused about the change. Keeping the clarity amidst the change, I believe, is the second most important thing. And once that is there, then all the stakeholders, your entire ecosystem, right from investors to everybody else in the organization, just follow you. They are giving you confidence to move on. So the role and impact of the CHRO is ever increasing. The expectations from the CEOs, from the investors, and from employees, from middle level managers, from the other stakeholders, all have very specific and a lot of time different expectations from the CHROs, and keeping that cohesion in all those expectations and still moving forward is a challenge. The question that you have asked me is the difference between a driver and an enabler. So I believe that one has to start from being an enabler. Nobody gives you a driving seat if you are not seen as somebody who can enable and lead and be part of the journey of the organization. So if I look at my last 2 years, I started as a learner, then I became a partner, then I became an enabler, and now I believe that we are driving the organization to the next level of change. We went through IPO last year. Now the Vishal is again in the second or another journey of evolution that we are part of. The talent changes at every stage of the organization. The vision of the CEOs keep evolving. So from a driver is, first of all, be aligned to the investors, be aligned to your CEO and CXOs, to their vision, how they are seeing the organization, and developing a vision for yourself, for the organization, and for your own team. What kind of employees, what kind of HR capabilities we have to develop. So once you are aligned to the overall vision of the organization and building those capabilities, that's when I believe that you can drive the change. But still, I feel that HR is 80% enabler and 20% driver. If you just want to drive everything, from the front all the time, then you have to be very sure about the business. So business and people at best are say 50-50. So business acumen, where the company has to come in, and that's 50%, and then kind of converting that into the people and enabling the people to change. That's where, and that line is where the CHRO comes in. We need to be very good with our business skills and very good with our people development skills. If both are balanced well, that's when the CHROs are able to drive and enable the business. I believe it's relatively easy. And one thing that has worked for Vishal and has always worked for me, that we stay focused on our business model, first of all. We stay focused on our customer need. And we are highly selective in what we end up doing, in the sense that we will have hundreds of options, but we have to pick that one thing among 100, and that we pick up based on our customer and business. I will tell you, retail is the business of many temptations. You know, you drive on the road, you find this guy is doing pricing strategy, that guy has got new products now, that guy has got a great sale going over there, that guy has got a great lighting and attraction and visual merchandise going there. And you know, you can really swirl around at, okay, today I want to become like this, today I want to become like that retailer. Staying true to your strategy and picking up the right things for the customer, that's one. Second thing is, when you are driving a large ship, you can't send out conflicting and many communications to your team. So once we see the change, we identify what we have to do, we pick up one or two things which are highly critical for our business, and that's what we move. So when the people see, employees see that what we are saying is aligned to the business, is that simple strategic change that they have to do, then adoption of that thing becomes easy. If you are sending conflicting messages, too many messages, then it becomes difficult. That's point number one. Point number two is that all the organizations have to say the same story. If we are changing a business need, for example, simple thing that we are changing the number of hours or the rotating shifts or anything regarding people, the business has to say the same thing, HR has to say the same thing, operations have to say the same thing, and all the other functions have to be together in it. There can't be internal conflicts that are passed on to the employees. We are very clear at Vishal that once we thrash out our internal challenges among the departments first, before we send out any communication. So there are no ways the employees are getting any contradictory information, any confusing information, and the clarity is around what's the next step. Once that is done, it is easy to drive this 20,000 workforce. See, customer needs, as you have been evolving. There is a large section of our customers who still wants to go inside the store and do the offline shopping. And then there is a growing element of our customer base, especially in large metros, in some other pockets, who are getting attuned to quick commerce. But this trend is, I believe, here to stay. If not in my generation, my next generation of my daughters and the next kids, they will not be going to the stores and shopping. I believe that my parents used to go to do shopping once every three times in a week, 4 times in a week for daily needs. But that has all stopped. Even if I am going to the store, my frequency is far lesser compared to the generation before me, and same will continue for the generation next. So we have to balance both the present and the future and the change that is happening. See, the KPIs on human resources scorecards are within, I believe, 3 broad categories. One is certainly, if you start from the value chain perspective, you start from your learning KPIs, the number of people who are getting promoted, the longevity of employees in a role, attrition of critical employees. Then you are able to look at your learning hours, the kind of training programs that you are providing for the people. So on the development performance indices, one has to keep a track to begin with. The second things are your operational KPIs, that are, your HR to employee ratios, your number of engagement sessions that you are doing, the kind of connect you are building to the employee grievances, what grievances are they coming, how fast are you able to respond to the employee grievances, what are people telling you in employee connect sessions, in your survey sessions. So that is the engagement part of it. And the third element is primarily on the cost side of it. So there you look at your sales to cost ratios, you look at your EBITDA to cost ratios, you look at your investments that you are doing at various sections of employees. And then you have to play it between those three areas to really fix up the ROIs from the people perspective. See, the biggest change that I have seen is that people are becoming a lot more specialized. They want to acquire skills, technical skills, specialized skills, and become masters of those areas. And maybe their general management aspirations are not that strong. When we started our career, I wanted to be a CHRO. And that's why really I never was limited to one skill, that I will be a talent acquisition expert or a performance expert or a compensation expert and learning expert. I went around the entire landscape of the HR wherever I got the opportunity. I traveled, I moved across industries, I moved across geographies in India, and grazed the entire field of human resources, I would say. But what I see now is that first of all, people don't have that aspiration. Their aspiration is more focused becoming master of their skills, and that I believe from a journalist to a specialist is certainly one trend that I see. Second thing is that we have seen that people want to be flexible. People want to kind of pursue their personal self a lot more. I would say I gave around first 20 years in human resources, focus on profession a lot more. And then I kind of developed my hobbies and personal side a lot once I reached this stage. But now when people are starting their careers itself, they want to have a balanced view on life, they want to keep a flexibility, they want to keep their personal pursuits active. And suddenly India also has evolved. There were not too many avenues for people to kind of develop their hobbies and interests. Now there is opportunity in the market on the personal side, and people are following that I believe is a very good trend. So not even the employer-employee relationship and connect, we have to carry our teams like we are their partners, if not in a family, I would say, and more of an equal, having those conversations. When we used to talk to our bosses, or like we're talking to somebody very senior, but now the way I try to talk to my team is more to kind of being a partner, trying to understand their lives, what's all is going on. So that equation of employer and employee is kind of getting diluted. The power difference is coming down, and that I believe is a good trend.